Brian Wilson is a name that means so much to music lovers everywhere. He is the heart and soul behind the Beach Boys, one of the most famous bands in history. Brian was not just a singer, he was the main songwriter, the producer, and the creative genius who dreamed up their unique sound. He painted pictures with music, creating songs that felt like sunshine, ocean waves, and youthful freedom. His work captured the spirit of California in the 1960s and shared it with the entire world. For millions of people, Brian's music became the soundtrack to their lives, full of joy and beautiful harmonies that no one had ever heard before. His influence is immense, touching countless artists and changing the way pop music was made forever. Born in Inglewood, California on June 20, 1942, Brian showed his incredible musical talent from a very young age. He could listen to a song just once and then play it perfectly on the piano from memory. He loved the complex harmonies of groups like the Four Freshmen and was fascinated by the powerful productions of Phil Spector. This love for music was a gift he shared with his family. In 1961, in his family's garage, he started a band with his two younger brothers, Dennis and Carl, his cousin Mike Love, and his friend Al Jardine. They called themselves the Beach Boys, and a legendary musical journey was about to begin for these young men from Hawthorne. The group's early music was full of energy and fun. They sang about surfing, driving fast cars, and going to high school dances. Songs like Surfin' USA and I Get Around became huge hits, making the Beach Boys famous across the country. But behind these fun, simple songs was Brian's complex musical mind at work. He was the one arranging the intricate vocal harmonies that made their sound so special. He layered voices together like a choir, creating a rich and beautiful texture that set them apart from every other band. He was pushing the boundaries of what pop music could be, even in those very early days of their incredible career. Brian's vision was always bigger than just surf rock. He wanted to create music that was more emotional and artistic. He wanted to make what he called teenage symphonies to God. This ambition would soon lead him to create one of the most celebrated albums of all time. He was not content with just writing hit songs. He wanted to create a complete musical experience that would touch people's hearts and souls deeply. His journey was one of constant creation and innovation, always reaching for a new sound, a new feeling, and a new way to express the beauty he heard in his head. He was truly an architect of sound, building masterpieces for the world to hear. The Beach Boys quickly became one of the biggest bands in America. Their songs were always on the radio, and their happy, clean-cut image was loved by fans of all ages. Brian Wilson was the driving force behind this incredible success. He wrote or co-wrote almost all of their biggest hits during this time. Songs like California Girls and Fun, Fun, Fun were perfect pop songs that defined a generation. They were simple enough for everyone to sing along to, but they also contained a musical complexity that other songwriters admired. Brian was a master at crafting catchy melodies and unforgettable hooks that stayed in your head for days. As the band's fame grew, Brian decided to stop touring with them. The pressure of performing live was too much for him. This decision, however, allowed him to focus all of his energy on writing and producing music in the studio. The recording studio became his instrument, his sanctuary, and his laboratory. He began to experiment with new sounds and recording techniques, pushing the limits of what was possible. He used instruments that were not common in pop music like cellos, harpsichords, and even bicycle bells. He was building a wall of sound that was all his own, creating a rich and layered musical world for listeners to explore. This period of intense creativity led to the creation of the album Pet Sounds in 1966. This album was a complete departure from their earlier work. It was a deeply personal and emotional record, with songs like God Only Knows and Wouldn't It Be Nice. These tracks were filled with complex arrangements, beautiful melodies, and heartfelt lyrics about love, loss, and growing up. Pet Sounds was not just a collection of songs, it was a unified work of art. It showed the world that Brian Wilson was more than a writer of pop hits. He was a true musical genius, a composer on the level of the greats. Following Pet Sounds, Brian aimed even higher with a project called Smile. He wanted it to be his ultimate masterpiece, a groundbreaking album that would change music forever. The single from this project, Good Vibrations, was a huge success. It was a pocket symphony, a complex song made from many different recorded sections pieced together perfectly. It took months to record, and was one of the most expensive singles ever made at the time. Good Vibrations showed Brian's incredible ambition. and his ability to turn his wildest musical ideas into reality, creating a sound that was truly magical and unlike anything heard before. Brian Wilson's life has been marked by incredible highs but also by profound challenges. Behind the sunny music, he struggled for many years with his mental health. The pressure to constantly create hit after hit was enormous, and it took a heavy toll on him. He began to hear voices in his head, a symptom of the schizoaffective disorder he would later be diagnosed with. The Ambitious Smile project eventually collapsed under the weight of his personal struggles and conflicts within the band. This was a heartbreaking moment for Brian, a creative genius who found it increasingly difficult to bring the beautiful music in his mind out into the world for others to hear. For many years, Brian retreated from the public eye. He spent long periods isolated, battling his inner demons and the effects of drug abuse. His creative output slowed and his health declined. It was a difficult and dark time for the man who had brought so much light and joy to the world through his music. His story became a cautionary tale in the music industry about the dangers of fame and the immense pressure placed on young artists. Yet even during these lost years, the legend of his genius never faded. People still listened to Pet Sounds and waited, hoping that he would one day find his way back to health and to music. With the help of his loving wife, Melinda Ledbetter Wilson, Brian began a long and slow journey toward recovery in the 1990s. He started to perform live again and even released new solo albums. In 2004, he finally completed and released his legendary lost album, Brian Wilson Presents Smile, to universal acclaim. It was a triumphant moment, a testament to his incredible resilience and the enduring power of his musical vision. He proved to the world that the genius was still there. Seeing him on stage again, sharing his music with tears of joy in his eyes, was an inspiration to fans who had stood by him for decades. Sadly, life brought new challenges. In early 2024, his beloved wife Melinda passed away. Shortly after, due to a major neurocognitive disorder, his family sought a conservatorship to ensure he receives the care he needs. This news saddened fans around the world, but it also showed the deep love his family has for him. Even as he faces this new health battle at the age of 82, Brian Wilson's story is not one of tragedy, but one of survival and courage. He has faced unimaginable difficulties with a gentle spirit, and his journey continues to inspire deep compassion and admiration from all who know his story and his music. Brian Wilson's influence on music is impossible to overstate. He changed the very idea of what a pop song could be. Before Brian, albums were often just a few hit singles mixed with filler songs. He was one of the first artists to create the concept album, where every song works together to tell a story or create a mood, as he did with Pet Sounds. This idea inspired countless other legendary artists, including the Beatles, who have said that Pet Sounds was the direct inspiration for their own masterpiece, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. He set a new standard for musical production and artistry that is still followed today. His innovative approach to songwriting and recording has inspired generations of musicians across all genres. Artists from Elton John to modern indie bands have praised Brian's work and have been influenced by his unique use of harmony, melody, and instrumentation. He showed them that you could be experimental and creative while still making music that people loved and connected with. He taught them that the recording studio itself could be an instrument for creating art. His willingness to be vulnerable and honest in his music gave other songwriters the courage to write about their own feelings and experiences, making pop music more personal and meaningful. The most important part of Brian Wilson's legacy is the music itself. His songs have brought joy to billions of people for over 60 years. They are played at weddings, on summer road trips, and at family gatherings. They have become a part of the fabric of our culture. The music has a timeless quality that allows it to connect with new listeners year after year. The feelings of hope, love, and even sadness in his songs are universal human emotions. When you listen to Don't Worry Baby or God Only Knows, you are hearing something pure and true that speaks directly to the heart, no matter who you are or where you are from. Today, as Brian Wilson faces his later years with grace, his music matters more than ever. In a world that can often feel complicated and divided, his songs remind us of the simple beauty in life. They remind us of the power of harmony, not just in music, but in bringing people together. The Beach Boys' music is a source of comfort and happiness, a promise of good vibrations that can lift our spirits. Brian Wilson's gift to the world is a beautiful symphony that will never end. It will continue to play on, a lasting testament to a gentle genius who just wanted to share the incredible music he heard inside his soul.